Hello and welcome everyone to Light Conversations. I am your host, 𝐃𝐢𝐯 𝐾𝐤𝐯 or Tucci, and I'm host of Light Conversations and founder of Heart and Purpose. And I support people to connect with their hearts, unleash their inner courage so that they can remember their purpose. So this is the first Light Conversation that we've had in 2025. And in fact, it's the first one since 2023, as I took a little pause from recording in 2024. But recently, I've really felt the nudges to come back and start recording again, because I feel like the energies and the astrological events that are taking place in 2025 is going to be quite a year. And it just felt really aligned to come back and relaunch the show and support humanity during this time of change and transformation. And today I am absolutely honored and delighted and thrilled to welcome back my very special guest, Aodaoin Hathaway. She has previously been on Light Conversations back in 2023, and she has accepted my invitation to come back again. And just a little bit about Aodaoin. She has connected with dragons and dragon healing energy, as well as the frequencies of the divine feminine and the angelic realm for over 20 years. She is the founder of the Divine Dragon Energy Healing and is a gifted light holder, healer and teacher, facilitating transformation, empowerment, and divine light embodiment for those who are called to work with her. And please stay tuned until the end, where Aodaoin will be bringing in a beautiful transmission blessing from the Divine Dragons, or whoever she wishes to deliver that from at the end of the show. So if you choose to receive it. So welcome to Light Conversations, Aodaoin. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I am so happy to be here again. I'm delighted that you decided to bring it back in a new and improved Light Conversations 2.0.
Yes.
So yes, it's a lovely way to welcome in 2025, I think.
Yes, and 2025 has started with quite a start, really, hasn't it? So I feel like we've already had 12 months squished into the month of January. Would you tend to agree? Yes.
Yes.
There has been a lot going on, and I know we've had conversations about this, and we've both been feeling the collective as well as our own individual processes. We've just moved from the year of the dragon in 2024, the wood dragon, to now the year of the snake from the Chinese zodiac. The year of the snake is that kind of really beautiful feminine energy. We're really being called to let go and shed that sort of the hustle and the forcing and the pushing kind of energy, and really lean into our intuition. That already happened, last week, the shift of that. And then we've had the changes of the nodes of the moon as well. So back on January the 11th, we've got 18 months of these two, of the nodes I think have changed from the Libra and Aries to Pisces and Virgo. So we've got eclipse season coming up in March, and then we've got that again in September. Plus, we have entered the age of Aquarius, really. We've got Pluto in Aquarius for the first time since 1777, I believe. That was the last time, until 1798. And that, we know, was a time of the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, the Industrial Revolution. And then there are many, many other planetary changes that are taking place this year. You know, I think there are 4 or 5 major changes. They're all changing signs. So there's some big energies coming through, right?
There certainly are. And I feel like last year was helping us to get set up for this year in many ways. I think that everyone had a chance to sort of reassess ourselves included, right? What was working in their lives, what's feeling aligned, what isn't. Obviously, we're seeing some big shifts within collective energies. Some of them, a lot of them probably quite worrying or disturbing
Mm.
to people. A lot of divisive kind of energy has been coming in the last few years. But really what we're seeing, as you're sharing, like around, this is a time of change. It's a time of transformation, and change is not always comfortable. So I feel like a lot of last year and this year in particular are going to be around how do we navigate these times in a different way.
Mm. Yeah.
And I don't think there's any quick and easy answer, but I do feel like as you were sharing there, this invitation to step into a more, I don't really want to say divine feminine, but I think very much a divine feminine led energy
Mm.
of that sort of more intuitive, inspired action type of way of being, but also one that is really earthed in the practical, earthed in the physical.
Mm. Yes, I love that. I think that's absolutely true. It's really, really being in that kind of, if you think about the snake, the image of the snake, she is really on the earth. Her belly kind of, rubs against the earth and she feels everything, that connection. We do have a tendency, especially in the spiritual kind of communities, we can really be in our heads, can't we? And we can really, and the number nine also, we're in the year 2025 is numerologically number nine, and it's about the kind of the heavens, and we're pointing upwards. But I think you're absolutely right. It's really bringing that. Yes, we're up there, but we are humans here having an energetic experience, or souls or spiritual beings having an energetic human experience. So we need to make sure that we are also part of that energy of Earth, because without her, we wouldn't be here on Earth, would we? In physical body.
I feel like this is something that we really get to explore this year.
Mm.
I'm encouraging myself to try and have an energy of curiosity about it, because I feel like there's a lot that could feel quite overwhelming right now. As you said, there's a lot of that energy of change, and that can feel very overwhelming. So it is really, how can we support ourselves to move forward in a very rooted, earthed way that allows those energetic and spiritual insights to come in and to support us, but that don't take us out of the human experience or allow us to be dismissive of that human experience.
Yes. And I love that. As you're speaking, right on your pineal gland, you have this beautiful orb of light. And it was just as you were saying that.
Just trying to like dodge it a little bit, but I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
Go with it.
It's just the sun coming in behind me here.
It
So
looks gorgeous. No, I think it was just the timing of it was also so perfect as you were speaking there. I was going to maybe save this for later, but actually, as you've mentioned it, we talk about it's a time for us to. It can be very overwhelming. There's so much, like, so there's the divisiveness and the everywhere you look. If you put on social media or the news, it's like, whoa. This can breed a lot of fear within people. And you mentioned how it's a really important time for us to be grounded. What suggestions would you have for people, for those maybe who are feeling a little bit in that overwhelm kind of energy?
what I have found really interesting is that, I hold a space each month for the dragons to come through with any messages. And the last 2 months have been very much around holding peace within ourselves.
Mm.
And I feel like that has to be our priority. And I don't mean this in a kind of in a holier than thou or judgy type way. I just mean that really prioritizing how is each of us choosing each day to hold a frequency of peace.
Mm.
And that's going to look different day to day. And it's going to involve different practices. I mean, whether it's the like Kundalini yoga and cacao for you, each one of us will have something different, but I feel like it's really important to prioritize that, because I think that right now there's this energy of urgency, of kind of, it's like the extreme FOMO, cart closes in 24 hours type energy. And it's this almost this false urgency, false sense of urgency. Now, I don't want to seem like I'm ignoring the many very real urgent situations on our world, okay? That there are real ones. But that kind of push urgency energy is something that's getting amplified. And I feel like there's a great wisdom for each of us in choosing each day to have a few moments of peace, of pause, so that we really are coming back to that center, that heart center of ourselves, and just having a little bit more awareness or observation about, like, is this really coming from within me, or is this an outside push? And try to discern that as much as we can, with holding grace for ourselves as well. Because I feel, and I'm sure this is something we've chatted about as well, is that when we're off kilter, it's very hard to not be in overwhelm.
It is, definitely. And you're right, this energy of this urgency you mentioned, and that's going to continue, I believe. I think it feels like that. I want to say it's July, the Uranus energy that comes through. I mean, Uranus, that is all about sudden and unexpected change. Bam! It's like the lightning bolt energy. So like you were saying, that last year was preparing us for, and we're continuing to be prepared. Like I love how you said that, holding that peace within ourselves, so that we can, once we hold that peace within ourselves, within our hearts, in however way it looks for each and every individual, like you say, it's so individual. And maybe one day it's going to look, for me, it's one day it might be cacao, or my cards, or my, the divine dragon energy healing system. It's whatever I've got. I'm like, my drum, what's going to work for me in this moment, and being really guided and trusting in that guidance that we're receiving. We've been so pulled from our inner wisdom for so long. We've been so separated from it. It's that learning again, right? I trust what I am feeling, and I know we've talked about it before. It's like when we're growing up as children, we have often been told not to believe how we feel, because, oh, don't be silly, you're being really silly there. So it's something that we've kind of been conditioned out of. So it's time to kind of relearn that. And and it's going to be so beneficial, isn't it, for all those around us, if we can hold that peace.
Well, this is, interestingly, this is something we were just reflecting on this morning in one of the training classes. That idea of that holding a specific energy of peace, and what a difference it can make within a group of people, and then of course within the larger collective energies. I feel like there can be a sort of dismissive energy around, oh, peace is lovely, but there's real things happening in the world. And I feel like that just plays into that divisive kind of energy. I feel like that just plays into the us versus them, peaceful versus not peaceful, taking action versus not, which is, none of it is really that black and white. You can, as you said, there can be days where we're in this space of real tizzy energy, running around trying to do things, and it's, where do we find the peace in those days, versus the days where maybe we can set our own schedule and we have a lovely easy start to the day, or whatever it might be. Everyone's situation is going to be different, but it's like, how can you bring in those frequencies of peace for yourself without that sort of rigid, this is my practice, this is how I do it? Because that's not really going to work this year. Exactly as you just said, there needs to be flexibility within each moment.
Mm.
But those benefits, I feel, to holding that kind of steadiness, even for a couple of seconds, a couple of seconds a day, it does make a huge difference.
Mm. Absolutely. And as you were saying that, it was like came through, make peace a priority, whatever that piece of, make it a priority in your day. As you say, we have days that are crazy. We're running around, people, we've got children, we've got normal lives, we are living in this world. It's a world where we are participating in, and things do get quite busy sometimes. I've been hermiting most of January and just been quite a lot behind the scenes. I'm like, okay, I'm going to really honor my hermit line in my human design. I'm a 6'2", so the 2 line is the hermit. And I'm like, I feel that pull, and I have to honor it because it doesn't serve me. And I've learned, I tell you, I've learned many times doing it the wrong way. So,
Well, this is it. It's about doing what you can. We're here to live lives. We're here to experience lives. We have practical things that need to get taken care of, and so it's how are you bringing that? How is that light, that practice, that spiritual aspect, the awakened aspect, the ascended aspect, whatever label you put on it, how is that coming through into our lives? And I feel like this is the year where we do get to experience a bit of trial and error. I think we do get to experience, okay, this isn't working anymore. Now this is, what's the pull? And it's something that will evolve as well over the year. I bet if we came back and have another conversation in December, we'll have
yes,
a lot more wisdom than we do right now. We'll have, yeah, it will, let's make it a date. It will be interesting to reflect and see where were the growth curves, where was the spiral of healing and expansion, where was the transformation, and how was that all held within, as you've said, these massive energies of change.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because I think this year it's going to be so quick this year. There's so much shedding, right? We are going to be letting go of a lot, like you said, old practices, things that we just don't work with, when who we are becoming, both individually and collectively. And I know we've dived completely straight into the energies. I wanted to just sort of rewind or take a little bit of a step back. You mentioned the class that you had this morning. Was that the Dragon Temple that you do on a monthly basis, or was that a separate class?
No, this was with the advanced practitioners for the Divine Dragon Energy Healing. Yeah, the
Okay.
Dragon Temple is usually towards the end of the month. So yeah, this month we've got the Dragons of Lady Nada. Which again, we're just talking about peace and that Christed aspect of that Christed earthed aspect of peace. It's really always so amazing to me, because I've learned by now, I don't, I sit, I connect, I collaborate with the dragons, and I pretty much get the instruction on this date, this time, these dragons, this transmission. And at the beginning, I used to be like, okay, are you sure? Because really, does this feel right? I used to try and link it with different themes, and now I go with it, and it's always perfect. That level, as soon as I was able to surrender into that collaboration, it is perfect.
Yes.
And I feel like this year, as you said, the energies are so quick in one way, and yet January felt like a full year.
Yes.
By the time we got to end of January, I was like, I am ready for 2026 now. Thank you very much. So I do feel like there is this quickening, this amplification, which has been happening. It's been happening, I think, over a decade now, but
Mm.
even more so now. And I feel like it's just the potential
Mm.
shifts is there. And I know we've chatted about this, but I feel like it's important to keep the knowing of hope
Yes.
very present as well, right? Because I think when, especially like if we're talking like about the summer coming up and the big unexpected changes, right? There's a part of me when you say big unexpected changes, there's a part of me that clenches really tight, you know. Like, oh, I don't know about big unexpected
Oh
changes.
no.
You know, I'm like, I don't know if I want big unexpected change. And I think that's just an aspect of me, right? The other part is like, bring it on, yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. So it's kind of having that loving energy for us, and understanding that, especially ancestrally, I think this is something I've really been noticing is like the for our ancestors, big unexpected changes usually meant bad things, you know. So
Yeah.
it's okay if there's that feeling of apprehension coming up around big unexpected changes, but it's also to maybe see if there's a can be a curiosity, and let that inner child who's brave and courageous and adventurous also have a part. You know, let that hope be present, because I think that's also an energy that is
Mm.
trying to that is getting a little dampened down right now, and I could totally understand why, but it's a very powerful energy.
Mm. And yes, when you mentioned the inner child and that curiosity, yes, let's not. There is an aspect that is going to be like, oh, change, and change, like you said at the beginning, it can be uncomfortable and a little bit scary, but bringing in that curiosity and that, yeah, the all the excitement of it, because we have Jupiter in June in Cancer, where Jupiter is exalted. It's like, yes. So there is that optimism and that hope that, it's and manifestation and all those yummy energies that we always want to be in. And when we kind of team up with the other energies, we want to be in that energy, like you said, of that hopeful energy and optimism, because yeah, it's not going to serve us as anyone if we kind of go, oh no, we're not ready for
No.
change.
Right. You know, I feel like this is it. And that's again coming back to that pause, the pause for peace, that kind of pivot into peace, because it's far more aligned or easier to move into a place of hope and upholding that space for a hopeful potential, of taking actions that are coming from that place. They're not kind of reactive. They're coming from a place of a brighter vision, a more compassionate and loving vision, a more hopeful vision. If you can bring the energy of that into your actions, I feel like that gives them so much more power in the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aideen, we talked about dragons. You have a connection, this beautiful connection with these divine beings, and you have this amazing, incredible healing system called the Divine Dragon Energy Healing System, which I am an advanced practitioner of as well. And it is a beautiful. I don't want. It's not a tool. It's it's more, so much more than that. I would love you to, if you don't mind, sharing just a little bit about how you first came into contact with, or connection with dragons. I know people are probably more familiar with angelic frequencies and maybe unicorn or Reiki. These are all healing systems, but also dragons. Someone might say, "Oh, I saw an angel." It's like, "Oh, okay," and then you go, "Dragon, whoa!" More,
Yes, yes. No, that definitely has been part of my journey.
yeah,
Of just sort of saying, a beautiful divine being appeared. For me, dragons, as you know, they've always been part of my life. There was definitely a period of time in my teens where I really shut everything down I really just wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate that as I hit my kind of late teens and went into my 20s, to have just been able to open back up again in a more, I suppose we'll say, spiritual way. And that brought the dragons really very present again. I don't feel they never really left. I
Mm.
just had sort of said, I'm not talking to you anymore right now. You know,
Can't be friends.
we're on a break. So we worked through that. But my initial, I think probably just much like yourself, my initial draw towards any kind of energy healing or any kind of healing modalities was initially just for myself. I had absolutely no intention of going forward and practicing professionally. That happened gradually over a couple of years where I just found that I just felt so much more myself
Mm.
working in that way.
Mm.
I felt like it gave capacity for so much more of my being. And so it happened very naturally and gradually, from, oh, I'll do sessions for friends, to, oh, I'll just do it part-time, to then becoming full-time. And again, the same kind of thing with the dragons. As I had trained in quite a few different healing modalities, that was initially what I was practicing, but dragons would always show up. And then just gently, gradually, as I was working with more clients that I felt kind of comfortable with, I would share that, and they were very open, which gave me a bit more confidence as well to talk more openly about them. And I think there has been a huge shift, just sort of within the collective energies from when we were kids to how dragons are represented now.
Mm.
And last year being the year of the dragon, there was a explosion of dragon
Yes.
themes and a dragon stuff on social media, some of which I had big reservations about, and some of which I was delighted to see. So it's been something that has been just very much a part of my life always. And I'm feel very grateful to be able to work in the way that I do, that the modality, the healing modality that came through has spread to so many people. So many people wanted to embrace it, to learn it, to work with the divine dragons, and who are taking it out into the world. I mean, that is not something that I could have dreamed of at 19, and to feel like that I played a small part in it is really magical. That kind of return of the dragon energy in a very earthed way.
Mhm.
I mean, I wish we could see them in the physical, but it's okay. It's okay that that's not how it is right now, because the energies are here in the physical.
Mm. Oh, I just got
No.
goosebumps. Mm. Yeah.
But every time we
Mm.
we use any of those frequencies, whether for ourselves or for a healing session for ourselves or clients, they're literally coming through our physical bodies. They're coming in the physical plane, and like I feel like that's magical. That's something to be hopeful about, and
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
yeah.
magical. I think that word magic, I know you love that, you use that word, and it is such a perfect word, I think, for this year as well, that bringing in that magic and your own magic. I know you tend to say, allowing people to to share their own magic and light into the planet as well, into the world.
This is so important though, right? Because it's every soul that comes in has something so beautiful to bring through. I mean, look at that gorgeous retreat that you held this weekend, in person. I can't wait to be able to like teleport over, join you there. Maybe we'll do the December chat in person. But like that gorgeous retreat that you held, where you were able to bring through these different weavings from your all your different trainings, of which I mean, I'm always in awe. I'm like, oh my God, she knows so much. You can do so many things. But you bring it through in a weaving that's unique to you and that has your signature, and that in and of itself is what creates the space. I mean, the tools that you bring in are really helpful and magical, but it's how you hold that space for people that allows them to feel safe, that they can be vulnerable, that they can heal, transform. You know, that's your magic to be able to do that, and no one needs to try and copy that or be envious of that, because we all have our own beautiful gifts, and it's what I really hope for this year and going forward. And I know that this is flying somewhat in the face of the like current reality, but I really hope that energy of collaboration and community can begin to be more and more present. Not a community in the way of our community is better than yours, or you are not included here, or whatever it is, but really that genuine heart collaboration and connection that honors that weaving of magic that everyone brings.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I that just wanted to come through. And I know, like, my human self is saying, that sounds lovely, but I also really strongly feel it in my heart that it's possible. And I feel like, and I know this is something we've talked about as well, and the way even that we use money in the world, like, that could shift, that could change. Like, how many people could be uplifted if money was used differently? How many people could thrive? you know I I'm hopeful. I choose to be hopeful, for humanity. I really do. Um, yeah.
And I think that's, that word itself, choose, when we choose to choose to be hopeful, we choose, to be on specific paths and to be more open, collaborative, loving, compassionate. And sometimes we're not. And, we go, okay, oops, maybe. And then there's compassion there we need to bring to ourselves, bring that compassion back, which is really important, isn't it? Because I know at times we're not loving to ourselves. We can be very unloving towards ourselves, but it's like bringing that again. How would we be with a child, a small child? And that energy of, we wouldn't be horrible and harsh like that to say the words that we say to ourselves, to a small child. So why do we
No,
do it to ourselves?
no.
And and I know you have an incredible community, your community with the Dragon Temple, and we'll share the details at the end. We'll share Aideen's Dragon Temple. She holds it every month. It's a beautiful space where you can receive transmissions and healings, and there's also the most gorgeous people, the community on there. I know some of them who I've obviously trained with as well. And yeah, being part of, communities is part of that Aquarian energy as well. And I know you're an Aquarius as well. you're an Aquarius, and we have entered, last week's new moon, was it? God, again, time is doing some weird stuff. I can't remember when things have happened, but it is about that, yeah, community that, we are one community, and that division and separation of the past, that doesn't serve us. That's not helping anyone. And we're going through, we're going through this cycle of stuff that's coming up. It's kind of like the shadow aspect. It's like the underbelly. It's all bubbling up. It kind of has to. It has to show up so that we can bring that light onto and see it and go, ooh, that's pretty gross. We don't want that in our world. We don't need that in our world. Let's bring light to it and love to it, and let that, transmute and alchemize. But it's part of the necessary process, isn't it?
I do feel like we're being given opportunities to see. things. Not in the conspiracy way. I just,
Mm.
no, that's just more drama. Like,
We don't need more drama on the planet. We
no more
don't need any
drama.
drama in our lives.
Pretty sure that
That,
was a song.
and that's the victimhood, isn't it? The victim consciousness that we're
Mm,
letting go of in this time.
mhm, mhm. And I do feel like it's very interesting, like the different things that we're seeing, like people needing to be right and conspiracy things and that sort of misuse of power, the bully energy, the that very toxic masculine, and indeed toxic feminine. Let's not,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to be seen. And again, I think that's where that sort of overwhelm starts to happen, because there might have been times in our own lived experience or in the experience of the ancestors where one or two of these themes was surfacing.
Mhm.
Now we're kind of seeing them all. And I feel like you're right. It is necessary to see them, and it's necessary to make that choice of, is this something that we want to continue to have? And some people will choose yes because it makes them feel safer.
Mm.
And this, again, is not about division, but it is about choice. And it's about, okay, even if some people in this world are choosing, we'll call them these older systems, if they are choosing that for whatever reason, all the more important that those of us who are really trying to be mindful and conscious, all the more reason that we are holding that energy of peace. And to be clear, like, peace isn't passive.
Yeah.
Peace can be very action fueled, but it's coming from a place of peace, not that kind of nasty, angry energy. But all the more reason that those of us who want to hold that space are doing so very consistently, because that does make a difference. It does make a difference in the collective energies. And the more lived experience there is of that peace being held in a body, in a human body, that starts to ripple out.
Mm.
And maybe that's the revolutionary energy
Yeah.
that can come in, is
Mm.
like right now, yeah, like, what's the most rebellious thing you can do? Hold peace.
Yeah.
Which again goes against that sort of fiery, do you hear the people saying energy, which I do feel it has its place, but what's it being fueled by,
Mm.
right? When it's reactionary, it fizzles out.
Mm.
When it's coming from that very centered place of, no, not happening on our watch, no, then it's got a sustained frequency to it.
Mm.
And within that element of community, there's space for us to rest,
Mm.
right? Because if I'm feeling burnt out, maybe you're not. Or if I'm feeling tired, like I need to have my hermit time, maybe you're not, and vice versa. So that there is always that embodied lived experience holding a core frequency.
Yes. And that's so interesting when when you're talking about that anger and that more regulated, less reactive sort of states, and we're holding that because we're going through the Mars retrograde currently, aren't we? So and retrogrades, we learn how to bring in, how to manage that in our fire in our bodies, in an embodied way. Mars represents the physical body and anger and all that. And this retrograde, it's been moving from, I want to say, was it Cancer and Leo? Yeah, Leo and Cancer. So, and then we've got the Venus retrograde, all about the heart, love, money, right? Venus also represents finances and how we kind of hold more love in our hearts. So isn't it incredible? These two retrogrades happening at the same time in this year. You know, Venus retrogrades happen every couple of years, and it's really bringing us all to kind of be in that right. Can we? Yes, we're going to feel anger in our bodies. We're going to feel it, but are we going to just be spewing it? And that's not helpful energy, right?
Yes.
How can we be in conversations and with other people and have that, hold that in its sacred form? Because anger, it is needed for us to, to take action.
Yes, I mean, I don't in any way want to say that people shouldn't feel angry. I feel angry. I
Mm,
feel angry about the state of the world right now. I feel angry when I read the headlines. But as you said, it's that kind of anger can feel initially very empowering, but it gets burnt out really quickly
yeah,
because our physical bodies can't sustain that level because it's a stress response in many ways.
yeah.
Um, and so it's that sacred rage or the sacred anger, which does act as an impetus. It does act as a moving forward. It is extraordinarily helpful in setting boundaries and saying, no, this does not feel right. I mean, that's really what it's saying to our body. It's like, this isn't right. This isn't safe. But it has to have the counterbalance. There has to be more there. And this is, I feel like where, that reflective practice, daily earthed practice, whether it is meditation or movement or just having a laugh, sharing a voice note like we do, that is also what brings a balance in that allows us to make these changes in a more lasting way.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Just even like in your Kundalini practice, right? Like there's balance within those different movements,
Mm.
right? You couldn't do just one of them indefinitely, right? There has to be that, or you'd be like, there would be too much. So I think it's also to that balance.
Mm. I'm wondering whether it would be a good time now to maybe tap into the to the energies and to see if you wouldn't mind bringing a little transmission through, and I can bring in some of that peace frequency.
That would be beautiful. Yeah, let's do that. Collaboration,
Yeah,
communication, community transmission.
absolutely.
Okay. So let's do that. So if anyone watching does not want to receive this, that's absolutely fine. Just not do that. But if you would like to receive, I invite you to just maybe close your eyes right now. Just let your hands rest on your lap and just bring your awareness just very gently to your breath. Just your natural breathing, just letting yourself soften into the space of your breath, of your beautiful heart. And we're joined now by the true, benevolent, divine dragons who love us all unconditionally. And they are offering to bring forward a blessing of peace and a beautiful, what they're calling an infusion of hope and joy. So if this is something that feels good to your being, all you need to do is just rest with your breath, just rest, just your natural breathing. You might want to slow it down a little bit. You might find that happens naturally. And the divine dragons just bringing through this beautiful energy of peace, this unconditionally loving energy of peace through your whole energy field right now. It's very soothing. There's a very gentle aspect to it. You might find that you are naturally just taking a few deep, slow breaths. Just that inhale, exhale in your own time. You may be seeing specific flashes of color, of light. They're showing me this beautiful rainbow prism, something similar to what we've been seeing throughout our time together. And they're just reminding us of this beautiful energy of community, of love, of hope. They're reminding us that throughout the human experience, there have been these souls that hold this energy, that bring people together, that uplift others. These people are not always the big famous leaders. They're just people like you and me, choosing to uplift, choosing to be kind. They're just shifting that weaving of light just a little bit right now, bringing through this beautiful transmission of hope and joy for our hearts today, for your beautiful hearts. Courageous, loving, mighty, and magical. With each beat of your physical heart, this infusion of hope and joy, amplifying, brightening, lightening through your energy field. This magical swirl and dance of light. And once again, this beautiful integrating energy of peace flowing through, allowing this transmission of hope and joy to become earthed, that it may manifest with grace and ease in your physical life, your physical being. That you may remember your magic, that you may know your heart and your wisdom, that you may be supported and uplifted by so much love in so many dimensions. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, darling. That was beautiful.
Thank you. That was so beautiful, Ladine. Thank you so much.
So welcome. That was
Yeah,
gift, yeah, from the Divine Dragons today.
that was such a beautiful gift. And as you were saying, just before you were saying the rainbow prism, I had flashes of rainbows. Oh, it's just like, oh, it's so beautiful. And thank you, Aideen. Thank you to the Divine Dragons for that beautiful gift and transmission. It was, I hope that we can all bring that hope and peace into our lives this year, this whatever it may be, however it may unfold in all beautiful ways. And I think, yeah, if we can hold this in our hearts, yeah, that's going to be a big change for all of us, if we can just hold peace in our hearts, I think.
I think that will be a very worthwhile year if we can do that. If we can begin to set that into practice.
Yay! Oh, thank you so much, Aidan. All right. So, okay, trying to wake up a little bit now.
Yeah.
My little dizziness. So you're running your next Dragon Temple. Where can people find you? How can people find the Dragon Temple?
Lady Nada this month. Dragons of Orion coming up in March. We've got a bit of a shift around. So that's all on my website, aodaoinhathaway.com.
Yeah, and I'll include that.
Maybe pop that in the comment section, because I know my name is not always super easy to spell.
I will be adding it. Don't worry. I'll even probably put a little thing on here so they can find it. So they can see.
So yeah, that
And your
will
Instagram
be
as well, because
Instagram and also on YouTube. Yeah. So
we'll
I do
include those.
little channeled messages on YouTube and in my newsletter each month as well. So if you feel like anyone wants to dip their toe into the dragon energy or dive more deeply, we have that. And we might have I know there's another offering coming with the mother dragons, which I think will happen in March. We're still in consultation on the dates. It's a slight throwback to the non-physical aspect of my team. Yeah, I'm trying to pin them down on some dates where that will happen.
Oh, this is the new one. This is new information for me. So
you heard it here first.
Yes, brilliant. And then, of course, if anyone who is already, who has a healing modality, who works with healing modalities and wants to delve into more modalities, you've got your Divine Dragon Energy Healing System, again, on your website. You've got your level 1, level 2, and level 3. I think everyone's welcome to do level 1, aren't they?
Yes. And again, as we experienced, I think you and I probably did a whole pile of modalities before ever practicing professionally and got a huge benefit from them. So these are not just for people who want to practice professionally. It's for anyone who would like to have what I call an energetic toolkit that can support them in day-to-day life, as well as having a capacity for self-healing or anything like that. But practical, that's what we want. Earthed, rooted tools.
Absolutely, they're practical, and these are used daily with certain frequencies with animals, with children. These are something you could apply into your day-to-day, pepper them around your day. We're not living in the time where we just can go into a cave and sit in a cave for hours on end and meditate and use all our self-healing tools. God, I know, I kind of reminisce about those days sometimes. And I know you do too, Aideen, but this is stuff that we can bring into our lives, into these very busy lives that we are leading. We can't get away from that sometimes, the busyness of the stuff that goes on.
Well, I think this is why we came here, right? We came to have this beautiful human experience, but we can't keep the magical and the spiritual separate, because then we just get cross in our human experience. We get grumpy, right? Hangry. So I'm spiritually hangry. This was always the intention with the modality, is that it can be used in a sequence for self-healing, but that each one of these frequencies is applicable in day-to-day life and can be used at any time, anywhere, except when driving or operating heavy machinery.
I'm not about
and
it.
and that we can benefit from them, that we're bringing the magical into the everyday, and to me that's the beauty of the human experience.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, and we collaborated earlier. That was like a little inspired action that came earlier, didn't it? It was like, oh, I could run of one of the frequencies while you're doing the transmission. You know, there's so much we can do. There's so much magic out there. And it's like, how do we play? How do we play this year? And so, yes. So I hope everyone
That
enjoyed
peace, hope, and joy, bringing that play, bringing to choose it. You know, that's what yeah, let's do that this year.
any other final words of wisdom, either from yourself or the dragons or anyone else, any of the divine, the goddesses,
I
and
got it to do, I beg.
before we wrap up?
I just really feel like we have this gorgeous potential. There's so many, you and I have met so many amazing, beautiful people all over the world. So if anyone out there watching this is feeling like they don't have their community, they don't have their collaboration, I would just say to you, it's there. You're going to find it. And to really remember and try and believe as much as you can, even if you have to pretend a little bit at the beginning, to believe in that magic that lives in your heart, that wisdom that lives in your heart, because as you start to let that be expressed, you find your people. You know, we all fly our little flags.
We do, we all find
Recognize each other. So yeah, here's to a wonderful year of finding peace and community and joy.
Thank you, Aideen, and thank you to the dragons. And this has been absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, and just an amazing conversation. And thank you for being my first guest for 2025.
Thank you so much. It's been such an honor to be here, and I can't wait to see who's gonna appear in the light conversations.
Yes. And then hopefully we'll have you back on at the end of the year so we could talk about this and see,
Okay.
see where we are, reflections.
Okay.
Exactly. Oh, thank you so much. And everyone, thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Aideen and myself would love to hear from you, connect with you, answer any questions that you may have. And also, if you liked and enjoyed this conversation, please like and subscribe. And, you know, it helps other people to find this conversation and boost that algorithm a little bit. So thank you so much. It's been incredible. Wishing you all peace and love and optimism and hope this year, and sending you all so much love. And thank you, Aideen, sending you so much love.